giving us the
Good morning. What was that? There we go. Welcome. Welcome to this service at our Keene Unitarian Universalist Church, or KUUC. Please join us each Sunday here in our historic 1824 sanctuary or on our YouTube live stream. Please say hello to the nice people out there. Today we would like to thank our children for the beauty of our altar. Please give them a nice shot. Thank you. A little about me. My name is Sherry. I'm a musician, an ally to my friends and colleagues of all genders, a member of our music and worship committees, and of this exemplary fellowship since December 2023, then officially since May 2024. I like to mention Indigenous Peoples Month, Veterans Day, Thanksgiving, St. Andrew's Day, the nurturing of our love for our congregation and our temple, and our very vessel of love itself here. I find it heartwarming to recount people, places, and events who have shaped me and for which I am grateful this time of year. But most importantly, we welcome you. It's everyone. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are in your life's journey, you are welcome here. Please sign our guest book located at the front of our sanctuary and join us for coffee or tea after the service in our parish hall, just through the door to my right. Today, there will be an opportunity for discussion about our special topic during this time. Each week, we designate an ambassador whom you can ask anything about our church, our faith, our community. Today, our ambassador is Gwen Powers. Please stand up. Yay! We welcome all children in our sanctuary and believe the sounds they make are indeed sacred. Your cell phones, however, not so much. Please silence them so we may be fully present with each other. Again, we say welcome. May you find personal inspiration each week from our wide variety of events and activities. Consider participating on our various committees and generously support our many wonderful community-building ventures. Get all of the wonderful details at www.kuuc.org. The true actual value of property is its worth to us and to its community. Consider how precious is ours for its role in our past, present, and future endeavors. So taken with it was I, that I was drawn to investigate what went on inside of it. And ultimately, this sounds odd, but ultimately fell in love with the congregation, with an entire congregation. As a property owner, I understand the honor it is to maintain the lineage and legacy of my family's hard work and efforts. Let us steward our own homestead here, likewise. Some hold that old world sacred architecture originally served not only for worship, but were physically fashioned to harvest healing energy freely from the atmosphere. As we someday rediscover this idea, we could solve our energy and healing needs, but for now, we have the most essential element, our warmth toward each other. These temples are intended to be alive. This one surely is, as it was built and is constantly being renovated and reinvented with love. The acoustics in this sacred place, you will note, are especially suited to this idea. And finally, while our Reverend Rowan Van Ness is away on maternity leave and will return on February 2nd of next year, we are proud today to have in our pulpit the distinguished Carl Jacobs and Larry Butcher, our very own property brothers, if you will, as it were, to remind us to support and appreciate the largest of our community members, our church. Well, actually, we don't think they're brothers. And there is already a dedicated show of that title. Sorry. I need a new joke writer for my speech. Just, Conan, you're fired. Anybody like the task? Seriously, the point I'm making is, if anyone would like to play a role in putting together our services, including that of ambassador, liaison, welcomer, etc., please see Rebecca McCoy or Andy Johnson, chair and co-chair, respectively, of our worship committee. We have indeed had quite a few new people join us lately, and we can all be ambassadors by wearing our name tag and introducing ourselves in the sanctuary or at coffee hour. Let's help them all feel welcome as well. Thank you for your reminder, Deb McClay. And lastly, I would like to also give Rebecca and Andy a shout out, because as a newbie to this process, I am so grateful for their support and their tutelage. Thank you.
Good morning, Grand Rising. I'm Shelley Janicek Woodson. I'm the new-ish RE coordinator, and I'm wanting to update our registration forms. So if anyone who's currently, any families currently in religious exploration need to fill out a 2025 form, I have the forms right here, and I'm going to take them and place them on the little table here with an envelope that says RE registrations. You can return your form to that envelope if you like. I also placed this same envelope upstairs. There's a cubby right before the RE hallway in case the door is locked. You can return your RE registration form to the envelope there in that little wooden cubby deal that's right there on for the hallway, or you can return it to one of us in RE, any way you like. But I will put some there, and I will also put some upstairs. So if you could fill those out, so I can put that information in the database, I would really appreciate it. Thank you.
Good morning. It is my pleasure to introduce KUUC's new child care provider, Haley Galloway. Haley grew up in Walpole, New Hampshire, with an older sister and a younger brother, and she attended Fall Mountain Regional High School. She is currently a sophomore at Keene State College with a major in early childhood education and a minor in psychology. Her goal is to become a preschool teacher. She commuted from Walpole for her freshman year, and this year is sharing an apartment with a roommate. She enjoys living right in Keene. I first met Haley on a Thursday evening at the Keene Multicultural Center, where she was watching the children during a class. When I asked how she had come to be involved with the center, she said that her college advisor was friends with Heather Jasmine of Keene Community Education. Heather had sent out an email asking for volunteers for the center, and Thursday evenings worked with Haley's schedule. When KUUC considered budgeting for a child care provider, Haley immediately came to mind. Happily, she accepted the position. Haley's hobbies include her horse Buzz, currently boarded near Brattleboro, Vermont. Haley showed Buzz for a couple of summers at Cheshire Fairgrounds, and Buzz is currently leased out to give pony rides to children. Haley visits when her schedule allows. Haley also enjoys reading mystery books, with Nancy Drew being her favorite series. We have that in common. She also enjoys mystery movies and television shows. Please join me in warmly welcoming Haley to the staff here at KUUC.
Good morning. We'll begin our worship with a responsive reading. Number, 444. This house is for the ingathering of nature and human nature. It is a house of freedom, guarding the dignity and worth of every person. It is a house of truth-seeking, where scientists can encourage devotion to their quests, where mystics can abide in a community of searchers.
It is a house of art, adorning celebrations, melodies, and handiworks.
It is a house of prophecy, outrunning times past and times present in visions of growth and progress.
This house is the cradle for our dreams, the workshop of our common endeavor.
And now I'd like to invite Chris McDermott up to light the chalice. And we will say the words that are written in the program. We kindle this flame to remind ourselves of the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of commitment. And now stand as you are able, and we'll sing hymn number 308.
Good morning. Is the microphone working? Yes. I'm trying out the lavalier like today. I'm inviting the children to come forward, and anyone who feels young at heart, and anyone who wants to see the beautiful illustrations more closely. This book is a Caldecott Honor book, and it's called Thank You, Amu, by Oge Mora. And Amu is a word from the Igbo language, which is one of the languages spoken in Nigeria. And this is Oge Mora, who not only wrote the words, but she did all the pictures as well. And they're in collage, and as you can see, the story takes place in a city. So as you listen to the story today, you can think about the different parts of the city that you want to build in the block room. On the corner of First Street and Long Street, on the very top floor, Amu was cooking a thick red stew in a big fat pot for a nice evening meal. She seasoned and stirred it and took a small taste. "What a delicious stew," Amu said. "Tonight's dinner will surely be the best I've ever had." With that, Amu put down her spoon and went to read a book before supper. As the thick red stew simmered on the stove, its scrumptious scent wafted out the window and out the door and down the hall and down the street and around the block until, knock, someone was at the door. When Amu opened it, she saw a little boy. "Little boy," Amu exclaimed, "what brings you to my home?" "I was playing with my race car down the hall when I smelled the most delicious smell," the little boy replied. "What is it?" "Thick red stew." Stew," he sighed. "That sure sounds yummy." Amu thought for a moment. She was saving her stew for dinner, but she had made quite a bit. It would not hurt to share. "Would you like some?" The little boy nodded. And so Amu spooned out some thick red stew from the big fat pot for her nice evening meal. "Thank you," Amu said, and he went on his way. With that, Amu closed the door and went back to her book. As she read, her thick red stew's scrumptious scent wafted out the window and out the door and down the hall and down the street and around the block until someone was at the door. When Amu opened the door this time, she saw a police officer. "Miss Police Officer," Amu exclaimed, "what brings you to my home?" "I was on duty down the street when I smelled the most delicious smell," Miss Police Officer replied. "What is it?" "Thick red stew." "Stew," she said, and her mouth watered. "That sounds mighty tasty." Amu thought for a moment. There was still enough to share. "Would you like some?" The police officer nodded. Once again, Amu spooned out some thick red stew from the big fat pot for her nice evening meal. "Thank you," Amu said. "Thank you," the officer said, and went on her way. And so for the second time, Amu closed the door and went back to her book. Sure enough, as she read, her thick red stew's scrumptious scent wafted out the window and out the door and down the hall and toward the street and around the block until, again, someone was at Amu's door. This time, when she opened it, she saw a hot dog vendor. "Mr. Hot Dog Vendor," Amu exclaimed, "what brings you to my home?" "I was selling my hot dogs down the block when I smelled the most delicious smell," Mr. Hot Dog Vendor replied. "What is it?" "Thick red stew." "Stew," the vendor licked his lips. "That sounds quite delectable." So Amu spooned out some thick red stew from the big fat pot for her nice evening meal. "Thank you, Amu," the hot dog vendor said, and went on his way. Throughout the day, people from all across the neighborhood knocked on Amu's door. She fed a shop owner, a cab driver, a doctor, an actor, a lawyer, a dancer, a baker, an artist, a singer, an athlete, a bus driver, a construction worker. Even the mayor stopped by. And each time they knocked, Amu shared. Soon the sky darkened, the street lights brightened, and it was finally time for dinner. But when Amu opened her big fat pot of thick red stew for her nice evening meal, it was empty. Aw. Yeah, people kept eating it. Amu sniffed, "There goes the best dinner I ever had." Sorry and blue, she sat at the table with her empty pot until... Who could that be? Amu wondered. When she opened the door, she saw the little boy, the police officer, the hot dog vendor, the shop owner, the cab driver, the doctor, the actor, the lawyer, the dancer, the baker. Why, everyone she fed today was at her door. "I'm sorry, everyone," Amu sighed. "My thick red stew is all gone. I have nothing left to share." The little boy tugged at Amu's sleeve. "Don't worry, Amu. We are not here to ask. We are here to give." The police officer carried in a fresh salad. The mayor entered with a roast chicken. The baker, you can imagine what the baker brought, a collection of sweet goodies. Even the little boy presented Amu with something special in a shiny red envelope. Everyone who had knocked on Amu's door that day squeezed inside her tiny apartment, and together they ate, danced, and celebrated. While Amu's big fat pot of thick red stew was empty, her heart was full of happiness and love. And here is what was in the envelope. Thank you, Oma. So today we're going to honor Amu's generosity and her visitors' gratitude by building the city and all the places where the people and work and live in that city. So if you will join me, we will go upstairs and we're going to sing them out. All right.
Right, can you hear me? Does that sound good? Okay, good. Jim Smart's book, The Unitarian Universalist Church, The Building and Its People, was published in 1995. If you haven't had a chance to read it, it's full of wonderful stories, not only about the building, but the women and men who helped the congregation thrive through its many decades. I want to thank Jim for his retirement project. It enabled me to embark on my retirement project in 2021 to list the building on the New Hampshire State Register of Historic Places. After the historic building assessment was completed by Scully Architects in 2023, I was able to build on that document to apply for listing on the National Register of Historic Places. KUUC was listed in September of 2024, so all thanks to Jim. Now for some building history. In 1824, a group of 82 people split away from the First Congregational Church. They called themselves the Keene Congregational Society Unitarian. The fledgling group successfully built their own church, finished 6 years later in 1830 on the corner of Main and Church Streets in downtown Keene. It was built of brick in a classic Greek Revival style. The congregants also bought and installed a 1,500-pound bell from the Revere workshop. Between 1867 and 68, the original Unitarian Church was extensively remodeled and enlarged into a Victorian style. Its tall bell tower dominated Main Street. 25 years later, the congregation voted to build a new church here. The lot was sold and the old church was demolished, leaving only the name Church Street to denote where the building once stood. And out in the hallway, there are two framed photos of these churches hanging right above the rack where all the name tags are, if you want to take a look. Edwin James Lewis Jr. of Roxbury, Massachusetts, was hired as the architect for the new church. A staunch Unitarian, he designed 35 churches for Unitarian congregations. He also designed private homes, schools, and apartment buildings. In all, 7 of his buildings have been added to the National Register of Historic Places. This speaks to his exceptional vision and skill as an architect. Plans for our building were completed in April of 1894. Lewis used design features from some of his other churches to create KUUC's unique structure. It has elements of Gothic Revival architecture in the stonework, the buttresses, the bell tower, and the diamond-paned leaded glass windows. When you're outside, look at the clear-story windows. They are framed by Gothic arches. These are clad entirely in slate and create a unique look. The gable ends of the sanctuary outside and the parish hall are made of wooden timbers that frame the stucco finish of the outside walls. These add a design element from the Tudor era. Lewis favored using native materials, thus local Roxbury granite was a choice for the foundation and exterior walls. The Roxbury Granite Company of Keene was hired with the lowest bid of $19,485 for building the church sanctuary, parish hall, and finished interior. The cost did not include plumbing, heating, or inside furnishings, however. Myron T. Cass supervised crews of masons and carpenters who crafted the building. The work began in April of 1894. The men used a new technology, a steam shovel, to excavate the site and dig the basement hole. They also used a steam hoisting machine and large derrick. It was placed in the center of the operation to move the granite blocks in place. The masons laid 34-inch wide footers along the edges of this massive hole to support the walls. No poured cement for them. Next, the masons maneuvered the machines to place 24-inch pieces of rectangular granite atop the footers. The walls rose from the footings 8 feet to ground level and then continued another 11 feet to where the roof eaves begin. The rough cut of the granite was deliberately placed facing the exterior for a more rustic look. Granite buttresses on the outside walls strengthened the structure for the support of the roof. And on July 11, 1894, the cornerstone was laid. Plans called for the floor to support 600 people. If any of you have been to the basement beneath this room, you'll find floor joists set at 12-inch intervals interlocked with iron I-beams supported by sturdy pillars of brick. This building is solid. Now it was time to raise the roof. The roof rafters, boards, and cross pieces are made of southern yellow pine. If you look up, you can see 6 horizontal trusses going right across. Here we go. They span the sanctuary and are mounted on curved wooden arch supports along the outside walls. 1-inch thick bolts hold the curved arch supports together. Mr. Lewis insisted on precision to the point that every square washer be perfectly aligned with one another, all 84 of them. By the middle of September, the masons had finished the tower, the carpenters had completed the framing, and the roofers had laid the green Vermont slates on the roof. In the autumn of 1894, interior wall surfaces were finished with stucco and waist-high wainscoting. The windows were also installed. On December 11th of 1894, the Revere Bell was hoisted into the new belfry. It is one of 2 located in Keene, but the only one still functioning. The other bell sits in front of the Baptist Church on Maple Avenue, if you'd like to see what a Revere bell looks like. Atop the tower, Mr. Lewis chose a weather vane with a golden rooster as a symbol for the church. You're going to like this one, property committee. 3 furnaces heated the church through hot air registers. A 4th heated the parish hall. They required a cord and a half of wood or 1,500 pounds of coal to make the church comfortable for Sunday services. All right. On January 24, 1895, a special ceremony marked the opening of the new church. Parishioners supplied the chancel table, the chancel chairs, and the pulpit. The pews arrived from Paris, France, just in time for the ceremony. In 1900, the Tiffany Truth window was installed. At first, the space had a window matching the one at the west end of the sanctuary, but there were complaints of too much light flooding in from the east for Sunday services. So the window back there was matched by a window there. All right. Mary Boyd Dinsmore, or Miss Mary B, as she liked to be called, spearheaded the effort. It is also called the Founder's Window as it honors the founders of the church, commemorated by the plaque beneath the window. The window is one of only 8 truth windows created by the Tiffany Studios. One located at a UU church in Boston is in a mosaic style. This and the other 6 are in the Favril style. Ours is believed to be the first with a wreath on the truth figure's arm, a circlet of flowers. Frederick Wilson designed the truth figure. He was appointed head of the ecclesiastical department at Tiffany in 1899. He won a gold medal for his stained glass work at the 1900 Paris Exposition World's Fair. His stained glass work is found across the country. You may have noticed that many plaques adorning the walls of the sanctuary. They commemorate dedicated parishioners. Many are distinguished by lives of public service. The marble plaque on the south wall to my left, over in that corner, is known as the Edwards plaque in honor of Thomas Edwards, U.S. Congressman and founder of the Cheshire Railroad. Made from Vermont marble, it's carved in a bas-relief and features a wreath and ribbons. So everybody can look at that. Okay. It was sculpted by Francis Barrett Faulkner, who was Carl Jacobs' great uncle. All right. During his long artistic career, Barry Faulkner went on to become the country's preeminent muralist. This is perhaps the only public example of one of his sculptures. The Bank of America on Central Square houses one of his murals. Another is at the Historical Society, still another at Elliott Hall at Keene State College. Others are in state capitals and cities across the country and at the National Archives building in Washington, D.C. How many have seen the ones locally? Anybody been in to see any? Yeah. 3 organs have served the congregation beginning in 1831. The original Pratt organ was the first organ in a church in Keene. The current Steer organ was installed in 1938. It was dismantled and completely rebuilt in 1990 to 92. It is now known as the Nevins organ, named for the craftsman who restored it. And I'm sure Betty Forrest can give you more details. The original wrought iron chandeliers in the sanctuary were converted from gas to electricity, finished in about 1921. The year 1960 brought many changes to the site. The parish hall basement was excavated and lowered 14 inches to create the undercroft and current furnace room. Also that year, a new kitchen replaced the stage in the parish hall. Did you even know there was a stage in the parish hall? It was at the north end. It also served as a meeting place for the women's groups that were active at the time. It had a cozy fireplace on the north wall that was covered over to accommodate the new kitchen. Formerly, the kitchen was where the hallway is that connects to the Taylor Street entrance. So just as you go right in there. 1959-60 saw other big changes. The new RE wing and Taylor Street entrance were built. It was designed by Arthur M. Doyle in the modernist style. Before moving to Keene, he was the official architect for the New York Stock Exchange. Who knew, right? And a graduate of Yale University School of Architecture. The use of skywall, the translucent wall material on both the north and south walls, made it unusual and very trendy for its time. It also made it eligible for inclusion onto the roster of the National Register of Historic Places. There are many more stories to tell, and not the time this morning to tell them. With our participation and energy, we are writing new chapters to add to the legacy of our historic and venerable home. Thank you. Oh, that's right, thanks. Now is the time for our offering. If you're joining us for the first time, please feel free to let the basket pass as your presence here is a gift. But for the rest of you, give to the church that has meant so much to you, for the church that has meant so much to those who have come before you, and for the church that will mean so much to people you will never know. Give what you will, for you are a generous people. Thank you. Please join me in the words for our offering dedication in your order of service. We dedicate these gifts in service of our mission to actively create compassionate community and work for a fair and peaceful world. Dan.
Excuse me. When I first came to this particular congregation, KUUC, in 2005, I attended a service given by Rev. Sue at the time, in which she mentioned that about 80% of the congregation, or maybe all UUs, I'm not sure which, were humanists. And I had to rush home after that service and look up what a humanist was to make sure to see if I qualified. Turns out you may call me a humanist. I won't take offense. I just mentioned this because as I went into thinking about this reflection, to think about the building project that we have planned, and I wanted to have a little bit more kind of an understanding of why architecture means something. What does it mean? And why are we doing this? Why would we want to preserve a building? And I went to the sources that might have influenced Edwin James as Eloise has told us about, and found the word humanism kept popping up, particularly in the arts and crafts style of Great Britain in the time that Edwin James, the architect, would have been at school. But of course, it was an overarching movement through the 19th century to explore these notions of kind of a human-centered society in a way, such as, well, certain principles of humanism in architecture. They were steering away from mass production and the alienation of the Industrial Revolution in favor of more hand craftsmanship and the honest use of durable and natural materials as we see all around us today. Balance, harmony, beauty for its own sake were important to support a sense of human potential and achievement in art and design. And human scale means that buildings feel approachable and comfortable and relate to the proportions of the human body. Architecture is a social art that promotes interaction, inclusivity, and community engagement. Another humanistic principle was using natural materials, wood timber framing, granite from Roxbury, and slate from Vermont all reflect a core humanistic value of authenticity. So, and saving and preserving a building takes advantage of the embodied energy that's in, jeez. Is that a hint? These old materials, you know, this heavy timber framing and these massive granite blocks that we've learned about represent a craft that's not used anymore. We can't afford to use it, and we just don't, it's not how buildings are built anymore, and so it becomes even more important to recognize the hand craftsmanship and the artistry that went into the making of this building. And you know, reusing a building, keeping it alive, keeping it relevant is really an embodiment of the seventh principle, which Carl's going to talk about a little later. But you know, the notion of preserving our resources is a very UU thing to do. And each generation becomes a steward for this resource. And in other words, you know, we're the ones that are called upon right now to look at the building and see what we can do to honor the building. And sure, I mean, we would benefit from that work. We would benefit from seeing some of the broken glass repaired and some of the slate repaired. And but we also do it for our grandkids, for those who we will never meet, as we say. Future generations. But I think most of all, honoring this building is a way of showing gratitude for the people who built this building. They put their heart and souls into it, hoisting those heavy stones and so forth, and we do it justice by acknowledging their effort and being appreciative of the gift that they gave us. So it's sort of reflecting on the past and being grateful to them as we, in turn, move it towards the future. And that's what architecture is really all about, is envisioning a better future. So I just want to explain a little bit about these drawings and about our project that does look toward the future. This is an ongoing thing. Long before I came to this congregation in 2005, I was aware of some architectural efforts to improve the entry over here. And this was 30 years ago, and still we have the same old entry. It's time, I think, that we consider what it means to be a welcoming congregation. I don't think it means sending people in wheelchairs up behind the dumpster to come up a rickety ramp and enter in the back door when other people get to use that door, or break through the ice when you can to get into this door. It's like, how are we opening our arms to the community? So we thought it was a good idea not only for welcoming purposes, but also because we've engaged an ally in the form of Ingram Construction. Jeff Ingram is a great advocate for preservation in this state, as well as one of the notable contractors, general contractors, and he's graciously offered some free consultation to us. And we asked him during a committee meeting, what do you think is important? And he said, well, do the things that are going to stop the building from deteriorating. You want to do the most important things to stabilize the building. And he mentioned an entry, for example, as being one of the things where water can come in and where dirt gets tracked in and so forth. So even from a construction point of view, improving the entry became an imperative, something that we wanted to do for a multiplicity of reasons. Not only will it get that, we'll have an entry that's accessible by all, which is consistent with our principles. We'll mitigate some of the water problems which are hurting the building, the downstairs. We've done some good work over the years, but this will be a comprehensive way to deal with that problem. And it'll be more beautiful, I hope, to people who pass by, who will understand that, yes, we have a grand entrance, and the formal entrance will stay, and that's to be used, but this entrance says you're welcome here too, and you can get in comfortably and safely. So that's what this drawing shows. You'll be able to see it more in the parish hall, and I have little copies of it, so you can get a sense of what we're thinking of doing out here. And then the other thing that you'll see in the parish hall is a drawing of the RE wing, where we're proposing replacing it's called Sky Wall, and it was put in by Arthur Doyle in the 50s, and it's as Eloise mentioned, it's as a historical artifact that we want to preserve, except that it leaks energy like you wouldn't believe. So we want to preserve, we want to do what's energy efficient too. Again, the seventh principle. So, and the windows are not good either. So we're proposing replacing the wall, the south wall particularly, because that's all sky wall and very energy inefficient. The north wall also needs work. So you'll see drawings that have several different options. It's all a conversation at this point. We're not saying this is what we're doing, take it or leave it. We're trying to explore what's the most historical, how do we honor Arthur Doyle's design intent, because this is a historical building. We can't just put up whatever we want. We have to be historically sensitive, environmentally conscious, and budget conscious. So we're exploring ideas to do that, and you'll see some of the options that I've proposed, some of which include the updated version of Skywall, which is called CalWall. But there are ways to do it without CalWall, because that's we can go into detail later, but I'm just trying to give you a little bit of insight as to what these drawings are meant to show. And so that's what you'll see is proposals for the RE wing walls, which, again, not just a whim, but to preserve, to be more mindful of energy use, because we're also talking about upgrades to the heating system and possibly cooling system, which we don't have, but I mean, it's a long story. But the point is that we're trying to create an envelope that uses whatever energy that we need in an efficient way. So again, this is not just to make it look pretty, but it's to maintain some sort of energy efficiency, but also to maintain that character. There's a feeling that Arthur Doyle wanted to promote, which is this diffuse indirect light. And we don't need to see out, but we need to feel that. We get it here too, which is just a soft indirect light. And I think that quality is what we need to preserve as well. So that's basic overview of these drawings. But remember, we're not saying this is what we're going to do. This is just a part of a dialogue that was started probably with Edwin James and has been going on for decades. And we're just stewards of this conversation. And this is just a sentence in that dialogue that's going to carry us more into the future. So, that's all I got. Oh, and next is 288, hymn number 288.
Stand as you are able, hymn 288.
All our architects of
This sanctuary is an inspiring place. To quote Madonna, each time I walk in here, it feels like the first time. Over the years, I have had occasion to bring many people in here for their first time. Everyone pauses to take it in. It's an awesome space. I first entered our buildings before I became involved with KUUC or really knew anything about it or this congregation. I attended a friend's Quaker wedding. I went to the green sale. I attended protest planning meetings. I performed at a coffee house. I attended recovery meetings. I am grateful for these buildings. They are important in my life journey, and I express my gratitude by working to ensure that the buildings are there for others. The buildings have an important history of people gathering to promote justice, freedom, world community, environmental action, and the arts. The buildings support the interdependent web of all existence. One of the times I was here, I picked up a pamphlet from a hall table. That was the first step in my UU journey. I grew up in a church with a creed, and I was fascinated that UUs draw from many sources. The principles became a kind of compass to guide my choices. They made sense to me and challenged me. Could I find the inherent worth and dignity of every person? How am I interconnected with some of the negativity that exists in the universe? The point here is that except for the green sale, I was in the buildings for activities other than KUUC events. I am grateful that the pamphlet caught my attention. During my years as part of KUUC, I've grown to love the buildings as I have grown to love what takes place within them. Today, as we celebrate the buildings and the future, I ask myself two questions. What would the buildings be without KUUC? And what would KUUC be without the buildings? I do not have a crystal ball to see the future, but currently, many people beyond KUUC members and friends frequent our buildings. Recovery groups, musical groups, the Multicultural Center, nursery school, community groups, yoga groups, it goes on. They currently utilize our space. And even though the activities are not KUUC per se, they do reflect our mission to create a passionate community and work for a fair and peaceful world. If KUUC moves from these buildings, these groups will still need a home. If KUUC moves out of these buildings, we separate ourselves from a big part of our heritage. When I am in this sanctuary, I feel the presence of many people who sat in the pews, sang in the choir, or spoke from this pulpit. The phrase, "if these walls could talk," comes to mind. When I sit here, I am encouraged to listen as much as to talk. I have little doubt that KUUC can exist without our buildings. However, without our buildings, our ability to live out our principles will be greatly reduced. When it comes to preserving our buildings, KUUC is not alone. Our buildings are much beloved in Keene and beyond for their beauty and history. As Eloise mentioned, they are on the New Hampshire and National Register of Historic Places. People well beyond KUUC want them to be preserved for the future. Many of those people have nothing to do with KUUC, to be repetitive. There is little chance that the buildings will collapse anytime soon, even if we do nothing. I believe that in 1,000 years, these walls will still be standing. Some of the needs that are happening here may not be able to happen because of the building systems and the windows may not stand. But this building, I think, will be standing. The buildings were built in a time when there was little concern about the environment or energy conservation, and there are opportunities to become a greener sanctuary. So, as Dan pointed out, we're developing a plan to engage not only our congregation, but those individuals and organizations beyond KUUC who are grateful for the buildings in the work of preserving, updating, and greening the buildings. It's very exciting, and it's consistent with our principles. I hope I read everything that I wrote. It seemed familiar. So I'd like to offer this meditation, and that I hope after I read it, we'll just sit in silence and let the building talk to us for a minute or two. And hopefully you'll hear some of the things that I hear when I sit here. This is a meditation from Genesis chapter 28. Surely the Lord is in this place, and I did not know it. How awesome is this place? This is none other than the house of God, and this is the gate of heaven.
please rise in body or spirit to sing hymn number 1, May Nothing Evil Cross This Door.
Chris comes up to extinguish the chalice. Let's read our usual words. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and share with the world until we are together again. And of course, I left my notes over in the pew. I have the happy task of renewing the invitation to come over to coffee hour. It's a great coffee hour and a chance to see Dan's drawings, ask questions, and start to take part in that dialogue that Dan was referring to as we proceed. In closing, I wanted to take us back to another of our principles and then the theme of gratitude. The principle of democratic process. Dan talked about the dialogue. This isn't something that the property team creates, pushes at people. We'll have a dialogue over the next months. It'll go to the board for some review. Then there'll be other chances for dialogue with the congregation. I sometimes say I think our job as this property team is trying to turn the daunting into the inspirational. I want to thank Carl and Eloise and Dan for providing, a good dose of that inspiration, today. But over a 3 or 5 year period, I think we can emerge with really inviting entrances, that you don't risk life and limb to enter in the wintertime, we can have an environmental footprint that is worthy of a green sanctuary. And when we have moments of reflection like Carl had us in the meditation, we'll still have the sound of kids' footprints or footfalls in the back to encourage us. So we haven't talked about the daunting part of this at all. We're able to answer questions. We can stay here as long as people want afterwards. But I do want to get back to our theme of gratitude too. There's a risk that I could go on too long on the gratitude side. We got coffee hour beckoning. But I got to start with a word of thanks for an unsung hero at the back of the congregation right now. Jay Shanks, thank you for the work you did in rebuilding the roof and the walls in the RA wing. Jay undertook that, led it. We went from a flat roof to a roof that's accommodating our solar panels now, and what a huge gift. In addition to the folks you've seen up here today, we've had other members of a really strong property team. You know Bob Hill's work. Paul Dixon has been a wonderful, wonderful addition. If you guys are feeling warmer in the pews over the last couple of weeks, that's because Paul has fine-tuned things. It's just a real gift. And Matt Lawler, as well, John Cronin. It's just a joy to work with these people. So as we get ready to go to coffee hour, I love our parting words of go in peace and with a purpose.
I actually have the stream on here, and I made sure John Walter did the right button. And this is I Had a Hammer. It's in the theme of our service today. Maybe if I had a blanket, might work too. Anyway, let's do this thing. If I had a hammer, I'd hammer in the morning, I'd hammer in the evening, all over this land. I'd hammer out danger, I'd hammer out warning, I'd hammer out love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land. Ooh, if I had a bell, I'd ring it in the morning, I'd ring it in the evening, all over this land. I'd ring out danger, I'd ring out warning, I'd ring out love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land. Ooh, if I had a song, I'd sing it in the morning, I'd sing it in the evening, all over this land. I'd sing out danger, I'd sing out warning, I'd sing out love between my brothers and my sisters,
a song to sing all over this land. It's the hammer of justice. It's the bell of freedom. It's a song about love between my brothers and my sisters all over this land. It's the hammer of justice. It's the bell of freedom. It's the song about love between my brothers and my sisters